We're gathered here today to say goodbye to the man behind the mask, Michael Myers. Now, Michael struggled in his early parts of his life. He was really struggled to find his footing in Dead by Daylight, but it seemed, I don't know, he was really starting to become the killer we all knew he was gonna be. And then he was taken from us by those rat fucks, the same people that always get a license, they make a game, they do a cash grab, and then they neglect him. And I'm telling you, this is not gonna be the last killer they do this for. I gotta cool off here. Today's not about us getting all angry. This is about remembering Michael Myers. So we have some people here who want to say a few words.
He made so many memories for new players, and they just made him love the game. Because without him, I wouldn't be playing this game right now. He is the reason why I play this game.
He's the reason a lot of us play this game. I haven't told this story before, but I don't know if I would still be alive if it wasn't for Michael Myers. I would say he saved my life a few times.
Yeah.
For around 7 to 8 years, he has been my main. I will never forget all the 4Ks I got with him. He was my best friend. I will miss him.
He was a killer to some, a reliable character to many, and a legacy to all. And you were truly the shape that shaped Dead by Daylight's future.
As being the first licensed killer, it kind of put Dead by Daylight in the spotlight more into the mainstream rather than just this goofy little ASIM game that very few people knew about. You, in particular, kind of have a special connection with him because you have that perk that you always used. You know which perk I'm talking about. And now we have him being taken by Gun Interactive from our grasp to hopefully not butcher yet another significant licensed killer such as they did with Bubba.
They're gonna, Rhino. They're gonna. I have proof. Woo. All right, it's hard, to follow something like this up, guys. But the show does have to go on, and Myers wouldn't want us to not do an episode of In the Loop just because of the events that occurred today. I also wanted to hold accountable the people who are responsible for Myers' death, and that's allegedly because obviously for legal reasons we don't know why Michael was removed, but I have a pretty good idea. And Gun Interactive and Illphonic are the two companies, if that, that's a stretch, I would say scam artists that are responsible for Michael leaving Dead by Daylight. Who is Gun Interactive? Oh, I don't know if I've seen that name before. Do you guys remember the Friday the 13th game? Yeah, well, they were behind that. And if you ask anybody why the game ended, they'll say, they didn't put any love into the game. They didn't fix any of the bugs. All they cared about was the DLC. Gun Interactive claims it was over the lawsuit, but the story doesn't really add up. And that was the same story for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Remember, guys, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was going to be the game that dethroned Dead by Daylight. This was going to be the new asymmetrical horror game. At first, this game was pretty fun, I'll admit, but they didn't change. There were some overpowered characters. They didn't put any attention into that and balancing that. They added just a bunch of new content to the game, that you could buy, but they didn't put any love into the game. And now when you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the player base is virtually non-existent. They just gave up on it. They just completely shut it down. So, it leads you to believe if these are the people that are behind this Halloween game and they tanked Texas Chainsaw Massacre and they tanked Friday the 13th, do we trust them that they're not going to tank the new Halloween game? And how about Illphonic? Illphonic had Predator Hunting Grounds. I've never played this game. I've never heard of it. Rumor on the street is it was a very DLC-centered game, if you catch my drift.
I like money.
And they also did Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Another example of taking a license, putting all this energy behind it and basically neglecting it. Is anyone still playing Killer Clowns from Outer Space? Which leads us to the Halloween game, which is the game that got Myers removed from Dead by Daylight. Two companies that don't have a great track record of creating successful games. Although it's not set to come out until September 8th of next year, they pulled the license from Dead by Daylight this upcoming year, January 19th. What does that mean for us? Well, you can't play Haddonfield anymore after January 19th, and you cannot purchase Myers or Laurie Strode. To make it clear, you can still play as them if you've purchased them, but you can't buy them or get any cosmetics after January 19th. They're also turning all of his perks and Laurie's perks into general perks. They've created new names for all of them already. I don't know. I feel like these names are just not uninspired. They even changed Decisive Strike to Will to Live. Now, it's funny. Some people have pointed out, when I get hit with Decisive Strike, I have no will to live. Will to piss me off. I have a new name for Decisive Strike. I think they should have changed it to Don't You Wish You Targeted Sable. And you could keep the acronym. But either way, they have new names now. The DLC is on sale. If you haven't gotten it yet, you might as well. People are already trying to resell the chapter for way more. But there is some positive that comes from this, and that's this week's Voice of the Fog. Every week we select a comment from last week's YouTube video as this week's Voice of the Fog. This week's winner is Grizzly, who said this is the new era of Straz, and I would agree. It's a little bit more unhinged, but I think it's a little more fun. Thank you, Grizzly, for being this week's Voice of the Fog. You can comment on this video, and hopefully your next week's Voice of the Fog, you can comment about the 10-year anniversary of Dead by Daylight. Now, 10 years of Dead by Daylight, that's kind of crazy. Like, for as much trash as people talk about Dead by Daylight, the fact that it's been around, a game so like simple, is a milestone in its own right. And Dead by Daylight just recently came out with a dev stream. They were talking about what the plans are for the 10th anniversary, and they keep hyping up a killer that they're going to drop. Now, a lot of people think it's Jason because the 10th anniversary, Jason's come to Fortnite and he's come to Call of Duty. A lot of people think that Jason is going to be the 10th anniversary killer. The way they've hyped this up, I'm going to be honest, like, if it's not Jason, people are going to be a little upset. Like, I have a feeling it's going to be like Predator, which would be cool, but like the way they're talking about it makes me feel like it is Jason. They're also hosting a party. That will be pretty cool. It's going to be in Montreal at the, I don't know if it's going to be at their headquarters, but hopefully maybe a better venue. This is going to be June 14th. They're going to have like a dev panel. They're going to have content creators. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to weasel my way into this party. I was thinking my best bet is to pretend to be Oddstarva, because a lot of people come into my chat and say I'm a less European version of Oddstarva, but probably unlikely. But what is likely is that we select a winner for this week's Hooked Highlight. We have a winner. The winner of this week's Hooked Highlight is Skylar, who was playing against the Springtrap, didn't realize apparently that loot bag was an add-on, ended up getting got by the hatchet. It was basically featured on today's episode of You Should Have Just Left. So congratulations, Skylar, for being this week's Hooked Highlight. Let's talk about a topic that I've seen a lot in the community. A lot of people think 2025 was Dead by Daylight's worst year. I don't feel that way. I mean, I'll say this. When Springtrap and the FNAF DLC came out, that was like peak. Like, that was the highest player base that Dead by Daylight had ever seen. I know me personally, for this channel, my YouTube videos were popping off, my streams were popping off. It felt like there was a flood of brand new people into the community. Like, vibes were really high. And yeah, I think in general, like, the FNAF DLC alone would classify 2025 as not the worst year, because it was a great DLC and it was great for the game. I'll say this, I think this was the year of missed opportunities, because between the quality of life updates that really didn't add anything like to the game, and like a lot of which didn't get pushed through, and then the Walking Dead DLC was like the buggiest DLC of all time, and then Crossu, like, Crossu was cool, the concept, but she was like the most overpowered killer and had no counterplay, and like survivors didn't like playing against her. She wasn't really that fun to play as a killer. Like, does anyone still playing Crossu? Does anyone care about Crossu? I don't. When we do Pick My Killer, no one recommends Crossu. No one cares. I would say this: 2025, not the worst year for Dead by Daylight. I've only been playing for like 2.5 years. years. But from what I hear, there's been worse years. Dead by Daylight had an opportunity to kind of really take off in 2025. A lot of those people that came in from the FNAF DLC, I don't think really stayed. That might be one of the reasons that they're so focused on tunneling and camping, because I'm guessing a lot of the new players like were pissed off by Dead by Daylight and ended up leaving. So to honor the memory of Michael Myers, I decided to load up for one final game. Well, I guess this is going to be my last game ever, but it's supposed to be dramatic for the series. And whether it was fate or luck, I got the perfect map. I got to lock in. This is fate. Now, although this wasn't my last Michael Myers game, this could potentially be my last game on Haddonfield, which was a little bit surreal, but today was about carrying on Michael's legacy. And I know the only thing Michael would really want me to do here is get the 4K. So hopefully Michael's looking down on me smiling. Definitely a sad day for Dead by Daylight, but don't worry, Michael, we'll carry on your legacy.